Now that the January transfer window is complete, managers across Europe will know exactly what squads they will have to work with for the remainder of this season. In this piece, we are going to discuss the winners and the losers of the recent January transfer window. We'll check out who strengthened well and who will really have to struggle in the second half of the domestic season because they decided not to bring any new players into their squads. In January 2023, transfer records were smashed. Despite the pandemic periodically stopping spending in its tracks, the football elite have found their deep pockets once again. Over $1.5 billion was spent on transfer fees. That's around $230 million more than the previous January record set in 2018. The Premier League outspent the rest of the major European leagues by far, and Chelsea were the biggest spenders in England. In fact, Chelsea alone spent more than France, Germany, Italy and Spain combined. The Blues splashed out over $350 million in an attempt to hoard some supreme talent, purchasing players on long-term contracts in order to spread out the costs of their transfer fee. This is a tactic to avoid UEFA's financial fair play regulations, but in our next video we will look into that in more detail. Whatever their off-the-field financial tactics may be, in footballing terms, Chelsea are certainly winners of the January transfer window. Of course, betting in new players will be difficult, and squads full of stars are not easy to manage. But if Chelsea use their new additions correctly, then in the small, medium or long term, they could be the team to beat in England. Their marquee signing was Enzo Fernandez, a fantastic central midfielder who can do it all. Pass, tackle, score, assist, press. Enzo truly has it all. A bundle of energy and full of quality. The young Argentine must feel on top of the world after his big money move and World Cup win in Qatar. He has already impressed in his first appearances for the club. Chelsea also managed to fork out on a lucrative loan deal for Atletico de Madrid attacker João Felix. The young Portuguese player had previously been the subject of a huge transfer from Benfica to Atletico himself. In the Spanish capital, he has shown plenty of moments of magic, but he hasn't seen eye to eye with boss Diego Simeone, and so Chelsea have come to his rescue as he seeks a starting place in a top team. Felix also looks impressive already and might provide the attacking dynamism Chelsea have been looking for. You get the feeling that he could link up very well with Enzo Fernandez in particular and end up staying in London beyond his loan move. Mikhailo Mudryk could be Chelsea's next most exciting addition. The young Ukrainian player had impressed for his national team and for his club Shakhtar Donetsk in Europe. It was a matter of time before he got a big move, and Stamford Bridge came calling. Another quick and tricky attacker, Mudryk will be hoping that instead of competing for a place with João Felix, that he can play alongside him. All of Chelsea's new signings are quality players. They are all young, talented and on very long-term contracts. Chelsea now seem to have two fantastic options for each position on the pitch, and if they can get the right mix to ensure these players can gel, they will win football matches. Manchester United went about their business quietly in January, but they may have made some shrewd additions too. Wout Weghorst and Marcel Sabitzer are two very significant signings. The Dutch forward has helped new boss Erik ten Hag find a focal point for his attack, and Sabitzer arrives from Bayern Munich with tons of experience at the top European level. What perhaps might be even more significant is that Cristiano Ronaldo also left Manchester United. Termination of the Portugal superstar's contract has meant a seismic shift in the dressing room. You get the feeling that without a personality as big as Ronaldo's, Ten Hag has more freedom to implement his style and help nurture the many young talents he has at United. An unhappy CR7 would have had a massive impact on the squad, and so his exit may be the most beneficial move for all. Marcus Rashford is back to his best as the focal point in this exciting young team. Despite losing one of the sport's best ever players, United's subtle additions will be valuable, and more importantly, they now have a happy and united squad that look to be oozing with confidence. They are January window winners as well. There have also been some losers in the January window, and Liverpool are the side that spring to mind when we think of an unsuccessful winter. Obviously the Reds have struggled a lot this year, and not least with problems in terms of squad personnel, heightened by stars underperforming and an injury crisis. A lack of depth in key positions has really shown the Reds up this year. The Anfield side would have fancied another title challenge before the season started, but now they will be lucky to claim any sort of European place for next season. Enzo Fernandez has been heavily linked with Liverpool, and he would have been the perfect signing, exactly what they needed, but the club failed to make a move for a central midfielder in January and left many Reds fans fuming. Henderson and Thiago have not been consistent and are no longer spring chickens. Fabinho has been horrific at times, and apart from that, Liverpool's midfield replacements are not up to standard and seem to have injury issues all the time. It was the obvious area to improve, but the club didn't make any moves. Owners Fenway Sports Group have come under fierce criticism for a lack of reinvestment in a struggling squad. In the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich made the headline signing of the January window, quickly moving for Manchester City fullback João Cancelo, amidst reports he was unhappy to be spending time on the bench at Guardiola's City. Already making a major impact for the German champions, Cancelo has a buy option in his new contract in Germany. This could be a great option for the club, and the Portuguese man on one side of the back four and Alphonso Davies on the other will cause serious issues for any opponent. Munich also signed Daley Blind on a free transfer from Ajax. The Dutch international may not be getting any younger, but he had a good World Cup and he will add experience to a fine Munich squad. He is also a very flexible player that can help to cover in various positions. Munich have also brought in the vastly experienced Swiss goalkeeper Jan Sommer from rivals Borussia Mönchengladbach. Overall, a great window for the Bavarian Giants. Josip Juranovic is another fullback arriving in Germany. The Croat has joined high-flying Union Berlin for just under $10 million from Celtic. Juranovic has bundles of energy and has performed well for club and country over the last 2 years. Union Berlin have a fantastic story, rising up the divisions in Germany to find themselves in a title battle with giants like Bayern. Juranovic will be a great player for the Berlin side and a bargain at that price too. Thorgan Hazard left the Bundesliga. The Dortmund man has gone to PSV Eindhoven on loan. He approached the Dortmund board to ask if he could play more, or if not, if it was possible to make a loan move, and that is exactly what has transpired. One of the brilliant breakthrough talents of the World Cup, Azzedine Ounahi, is our pick of the transfer business in France. The young Moroccan midfielder was fantastic in Qatar and has hit the ground running at Marseille, joining on a deal from Angers for around $9 million. Highly rated striker Vitinha also joined Marseille from Portuguese side Braga. The Mediterranean club are big winners for us in this window, as they continue a successful season with Alexis Sanchez back on form. In Spain there's been plenty of movement. Hector Bellerin has left Barcelona for Sporting Lisbon in Portugal on a free, and Villarreal have let Arnaut Danjuma head to Tottenham on a loan deal with an option to buy. The tricky Dutch winger has all the tools to become a successful Premier League player. Atletico de Madrid have brought in Memphis Depay from Barcelona. The forward has already scored a crucial late winner in the league for the Madrid side, who also signed Matt Doherty. The fullback will be the first Irish Atletico de Madrid player in history, and together these two signings will help bolster a strong Atletico squad fighting to nail down a Champions League spot once again. Italy's Serie A saw little to no movement in the January window as a gallant Napoli raced towards the title, but there were a few movements in and out of Brazil. Recent Wolves goalscorer João Gomes arrived from Flamengo for over $20 million, and one of Chelsea's slightly less lucrative signings was the significant purchase of young André Santos for over $13 million. The young star arrives from Vasco da Gama with a fantastic reputation. In the other direction, one of the best strikers of recent years, Luis Suarez, has arrived at Grêmio, and he is scoring for fun in his opening games for the Brazilian Giants. He will be hoping to add more trophies to his cabinet in South America. The January transfer window is crazy. It's less reasonable or planned out than a summer window, but that makes it interesting. For new signings, it is survival of the fittest as they look to land on their feet in their new surroundings. They will have to adapt fast in the middle of a season where big prizes are yet to be won. Bayern Munich, Marseille and Chelsea have had amazing windows. Liverpool could live to regret their lack of business, but only time will tell. Who do you think made the best signings of the January window? Let us know in the comments below.